All right. 3 seconds. Here we go.
Imagine, if you will, a world where every meme and comment is fact-checked, but not a ballot. That Kate Daly Show starts now.
The future is in our hands. My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty. New York, we're going to freeze them. Together, New York, we're going to make buck as fast and together, New York, we're going to deliver universal. So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
Oh boy. Welcome. And you're listening to the Kate Daly Show. That was the new mayor of New York, the little Marxist, Zoran. And boy, we have a lot to talk about with elections, all kinds of things going on because this is like post, the day after. We have so much. And Susan isn't with us today. I have Midwest Melissa, and we're going to take your calls too, which means you can call the line. You can call 435-680-2503 and 680-2503, and you can text. I can't wait to hear from you. And Midwest Melissa, how are you today?
I'm good. I get to do like the post-election stuff. Makes me feel like I'm on CNN.
I know. Ooh,
I just feel so special. Or maybe like it's like being on The View or something.
Oh, gross! Could you get any grosser? Those women are hags. Ugh. Oh my gosh. Oh, there isn't a brain cell between them. Anyway, or on CNN, they're brainless. Well, we have a lot. So if you guys want to chime in on this, there is just so much to talk about with New York. And I do want to start off by really kind of really saying that, it's elections are controlled. So him getting in is a control chess move. The deep state wants him there. He'll do the bidding of the deep state. He's not going to act alone. He's going to get orders. And it does change a lot of things because as you start to see these folks get into office like this, they're going to make it seem like everyone in New York wanted him, not necessarily, and I'm sure there were some that did, but not necessarily all of New York. And the other thing is what it's going to do, and we're going to talk about that with Midwest Melissa. One thing I find kind of compelling about this guy is that he was born in Uganda. He became a U.S. citizen just in 2018. And he called for defunding the police in 2020, right on cue. And then, of course, lies about defunding the police in 2025, and then fights the police to get Tom Homan, and then says he's going to protect all of the Muslim neighbors pretty much first, so that they can't be deported. So there's a lot happening here. And I want to get your take, Midwest Melissa. What do you think?
Well, let's talk about his funding.
Yeah.
Who funded him? And the proof, the fingerprints are all over that because it has come out that George Soros affiliated funding. Now, whether that's George Sr. or his son, Alex.
I think it was Junior. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think George the Elder has probably like dried up and desiccated somewhere. But about $37 million of Soros money was behind the Mamdani campaign. So that is the deep state, right? That's the very definition. And then he got another huge chunk of funding from CARE, which is the Council on American Islamic Relations. Is that the right acronym? It's the Islamic group here in the US.
Right.
And so those are not two people that those are not two ideologies that I want to be aligned. That's really kind of alarming that George Soros in alignment with the most radical, CARE puts on a lovely face that they're just ever so moderate, but they have been involved with backing Hamas and all kinds of other stuff.
Right.
So are those the people that you want in bed together supporting a candidate for the mayor of New York City? Not me.
Yeah. New York's been going down the tubes for a really long time due to its mayors, but this was an interesting one because it really goes into the trajectory of where we're headed, and there are more people like him in office, right? So we've got a lot of mayors in office, not a lot, but
yeah. And I thought this was kind of shocking that the mayor of Hamtramck, Michigan, is a Muslim. The mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, which is not really a big surprise because Dearborn is about 55% Muslim now.
So
they
crazy.
they have elected a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
The mayor of Richardson, Texas is a Muslim. The vice president of Minneapolis' city council is a Muslim. We have Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Andre Carson, all in the House. Now we have Zohran Mamdani. There was a guy named Omar Fatah who lost the election, but he's a Somali-born guy. They're calling him the Somali Mamdani that ran for Minneapolis governor, and he just barely lost. So I think we need to consider whether are we being taken over by foreign agents? Like, are we being colonized? Americans don't think that we can be colonized, but it kind of has that feeling to me. These people are not, they don't come from the American, let's say, philosophical framework. How about that?
Yeah, like an understanding and love for the Constitution, like that.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah,
kind of like that.
It's interesting to watch the deep state and who they want to position in these positions, and the coasts are completely soured into the Gavin Gruesom's, the Zohan Mamdanis, all of these kinds of people, right? The governor Kate in Oregon, this horrific. You've got both coasts completely shot, like completely taken over by Marxists. And not to say the rest of the country isn't having its issues too, but it's just interesting to see both coasts be completely just. And that controls our trade. It controls a lot of things too. A lot of things happen on our coasts, but in the future. So
I'm very intrigued by the coalition between radical Islam and Marxism, because they're both. I don't. If you read Marx, certainly he is not an authoritarian, but we all know that there has never been a place where Marxism has been tried or implemented that did not become that. And Islam is also very authoritarian. So that is not, talk about an unholy alliance.
Yeah.
These are not people who are going to value individual freedoms or freedom of speech or any of those things.
No, he even quoted Karl Marx in saying, each to your abilities, each to your needs, right? From each according to his abilities, from each according to his needs, and quoted it and tweeted it out, and is extreme Marxist, just to the
doesn't
extreme.
Really, just like every Marxist, he doesn't really mean it, because he says, oh, we're going to tax white neighborhoods more than non-white neighborhoods. We're going to protect Muslims from deportation first.
Special rights.
This is not to each.
Nope.
This is to my selected groups of protected people that I like.
Yeah, for sure.
That is not Marxism.
Yeah.
If you want to argue it that way, it's not even what Karl Marx said.
Yeah. Which is horrific enough. I mean, because we live in a country that is, it's based on you bring it, you deserve it, you get it, and you go after it and take care of yourself. It's not doled out by government. Everything isn't doled out. So in that clip, he was talking about free busing, free everything, free healthcare, and of course, all these nimrods are sitting there cheering. I mean, do they not realize where the money comes from? Probably not.
Those are always the lies that,
I know.
that Marxists sell. And I found some really interesting information about daycare. has been a huge issue in New York. And I didn't realize the history of daycare in New York City goes way back, even before, even before World War One, excuse me, World War II,
right?
back into the WPA years, when the federal government was setting up child care systems. And New York City has done a lot, much more than any place else in the whole country, on subsidizing, providing free daycare. And that was an issue in his election too. And everything that I'm reading today, and I believe this to be true, says that the number one issue on Americans, windshield right now is cost of living.
Right.
And I can't imagine living in New York, where the cost of living is horrible. You hear somebody who's going to promise you free childcare and free health care and free busing and free this
everything.
And I just don't know where free comes from. Are the bus drivers going to be driving for free? Is the gasoline going to go into those buses somewhere from somewhere? Some free oil company's going to grant them?
Nope.
There's no connection between things that have to be paid for by someone, and then we're going to. So do you just turn over all of your income to the state and they give you everything for free? I know what I call that. That's called slavery.
Yeah. It cracked me up. Our governor was calling, praising the government, the public servants. So, and I'm like, they're not a servant because they're making a wage, and they wouldn't show up if they weren't. So the wage comes from our tax dollars. So not a servant, actually, not a servant. Let's learn the difference. But when you said that word, it just triggered that thought, because I just commented on that because it was just so inflammatory. I thought, oh my gosh, are we really that stupid? People wouldn't go unless they were paid, and handsomely, so not a servant. Drives me nuts.
This is just an aside, but I think the idea of public servants who put the needs or wants or desires or opinions of the common people at the front, that's been gone for a long time.
Yeah.
Most people that we consider public servants, whether they're elected politicians or otherwise, they are empire builders.
Right.
They are people who are in it for what's in it for me.
Yep. Let's take a quick call. Go ahead, caller. You're on.
Yeah. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
So, this is a validation. You named off all these people who are getting into office. This is a validation of how the voting system is absolutely corrupt. There's no way that the people are voting these people into office.
Nope.
The corrupt voting system and the powers that be are putting them into office. So we can get some more clear evidence that this corruption is going on. People are just going to continue to go, well, geez, I guess the majority wanted him there, and that's who voted for him.
Yeah. A great point. Thank you very much. Great point. I really appreciate that.
Mamdani's majority was only like 50.3%.
That's what they said. That's what they said.
But that's not a huge.
Well, it never is. You mean, if you really are looking at the races, boy, they sure are razor tight all the time. I mean, I'm not suspecting.
Half the people in New York didn't want him there.
Well, more than half.
Right?
I think they fudged the numbers, but yes, they're always going to make it razor sharp because they do have control since 2004. They can make the race look any way they want, and they can make it look like New York wants him, or at least half of New York wants him. And I'm with the caller. I don't think that's true. I think that they are positioning it that way. I think that they want people to think that. They want people to give up, and they want people to think that it's being overrun. And I don't think the populace is in the corner of somebody like this. I actually think it's a pretty small group that would be in his corner. But they're stupid enough to be in Cuomo's corner too. So it's not like,
Well, I hate, you may be right on all of those. And I agree in principle on almost everything that you said. However, I just want to kind of add to the fact that I never overestimate the stupidity of the American public to say, free stuff, I'm in.
Well, that's true. That is true. We like our freebies.
Yeah, we do. And I think there's a lot of people who the education system has completely broken down. They have no idea of where, my meat comes from the grocery store. It doesn't come from a farm, and there's none of that connected to it. But, people hear free stuff and they just say, where do I stand in line for that?
Yeah.
Guess what? you're going to stand in line for the rest of your life if that's what you want.
He's even giving, his pledge was to give free legal representation for all the people in detention proceedings. It's going to get interesting. It's going to get really interesting to watch this happen at this level. So we have like, let's see, name some of the cities, because there's several in Michigan that have this type of person at the helm. Richardson, Texas.
Oh, the Islamic guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Hamtramck, Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
Dearborn, Michigan, Richardson, Texas. Let's see.
Interesting.
Minneapolis has some things coming at them. They have the vice president of Minneapolis City Council.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Omar Fatah that just ran and on a razor thin loss, lost the governorship of Minneapolis. And then we have representation in the House. I don't know that, sadly, I hate to admit it, Andre Carson's from Indianapolis. We've heard about Andre Carson forever here. And Andre Carson is so popular in his district, he will not ever be unseated, because that's exactly his strategy. Like, free stuff for everybody, even though he never delivers on it. They elect him to go to, and that's the other thing. People are so dumb about, oh, if I just elect this guy who's promising me this pie in the sky, then I'm really going to get pie in the sky, not understanding one representative in the House does not bring you pie in the sky.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a lot more than that, but I can see the coalition building right now.
He started out as working for the campaign for New York City Council. So he had an in. So that's why I very much think that this is a kind of a deep state move, but a deep state move, because not only do they control elections, but also because of the way that these guys get into office and fast, and then get in, win, and win again, and now positioned as the mayor. So it's very interesting to watch the chess moves happening here. And
what
I was just,
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say there was a very interesting meme that from a Rabbi David Tutu, and he said, this is really interesting. Our Messiah will only appear once Europe and Christianity are totally destroyed. So it's good news that Islam invades Europe. It is excellent news. Islam is the broom of Israel. Very wild statement. And
well, we were talking before
very
the show.
Crazy.
Do we really want to invite all of the struggle and headache and heartache of the Middle East to the United States? That's what we're doing. That's what they've done in Britain. That's what they've done in France. That's what they're doing in Germany. They have invited all of the struggles of the Middle East, like, come and live here. We would like to have the same kind of depressed standard of living and infighting and tribalism. That's what we love. Bring it on.
Downfalls of nations. Let's take a caller. Go ahead, caller. You're on.
Hey, Kate. Just wanted to say, thing is, what they've been doing is they've been moving in paid mercs, Islamic mercs, because they want all of our law enforcement in big cities, which are going to be globalist, staging areas for the coming globalist onslaught, to basically be fed, clothed, and everything by the Midwest. So they will literally be leeching off the rest of us to subjugate us. That's the entire idea. And that's the reason they're replacing the average American representative or executive in all these cities with Medes and Persians who respect neither age nor youth, as the prophecies say. And they're trying to infiltrate the New Jerusalem with these Medes and Persians as well. So with that, thank you for.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, you know, it's funny. LA, I'm from California. LA is pretty much all Persian. I mean, it's kind of amazing. People think that it's everybody up from Mexico. Actually, yes, but it's like Persian is huge over there. Huge presence over there. Interesting. All right.
One of the things that I find to be interesting about all this as well is you read a lot of stuff. And was he coached? Was Mamdani coached?
I think
by
he's
Obama?
owned. Oh, I think he's owned. I think he's owned 100%.
I think it's the thing I think is interesting. I think he was coached by Obama, because I think Obama certainly has very close ties to Islam as well. However, I find it interesting that at the last hour, Obama refused to endorse him, and Van Jones is out now today saying, oh, that was a terrible acceptance speech. Yeah. He was too over the top. Well, he's had a personality shift. He was so suave and cool and collected on the campaign trail. And now we see what he really is.
Let's take a quick call. Go ahead, caller.
Okay. Hi, Kate. Hey, condolences to your family.
Thank you.
And prayers. But the thing, anybody who's never read before should read Robert Strauss and Howe, The Fourth Turning.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think we're in one of these stages. But my point, to be brief, my best friend and I went to Las Vegas last weekend to see the Eagles in concert, because I love the Eagles.
Oh, I'd love to do that. Okay.
I hate Las Vegas anymore.
Right.
But we went 30 hours to see them. And I was down there on Halloween night on Fremont Street. And I was looking around at this massive people at me, and I'm like, this is a portion of our nation that is voting for this stuff. And I mean, it's like, I've never been to Mardi Gras, but this was just like, I'm looking around and looking at people going, this is just like sickness. This is why, when I said to my friend, I said, why do they got their 5-year-old kid out here at 12:30 in the morning?
It's Vegas.
Yeah. I said that. Well, it represents a cause, a portion of society, and these people are just they're lost.
Yeah,
they're lost.
Yeah.
All we can do is pray for them and just pray for our country. But I just want to make that point. It was a circus freak show.
It usually is. The girls in pasties, the blue hairs, you name it.
This was it on steroids.
It's like Sodom and Gomorrah, right? It kind of gives you like Sodom and Gomorrah vibes. Okay, yeah. For sure.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate your call. Oh, Melissa, back with you. Okay, so I mean, I recognize that there's a section of society that would be all for Marxist ideas. They've been trained to think that they're fabulous because they're all on the receiving end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and I found a very interesting survey that was done by the Yale Institution for Social and Policy Studies. And I know Yale is going to be liberal. But what they found among young people, it's not as bleak as maybe we think, that there are growing, especially in the 18 to 22-year-olds are very similarly conservative to people who are much older. Then there's a group in the middle who's more liberal progressive, but the youngest voters, the people who are just 18, are conservative. The people whose lives were interrupted, it's interesting that Yale made this connection. The people whose lives were interrupted by COVID have suddenly seen that the government is not predictable. And so they're looking for ways to live their life that have greater meaning to them. So you'll find that that's the age group that's going back to churches. They're experiencing religion. However, we need to be very cautious because, like I said, Islam is on the growth end too. There are about, let me see, I have the number here somewhere. There are about 30,000 converts in the U.S. to Islam every year. So we need to know that as our young people are looking for meaning and identity, be careful where they're looking for that. And this brings up a point that I'm sad to talk about, because I think the Republicans are not making their points very well. You know, in all of these, we just had a governor's race in New Jersey that went Democrat. We had Mamdani in New York. There were others. Who's the other one that the other Democrat that won? Oh, Virginia, in Virginia.
Right.
And why this is an off term. This is not at one of the, this is, you know, kind of in the middle of things. No, there's nothing else to kind of mobilize voters. But are we as conservatives really making the points that we need to make with young people and everybody about why Mamdani's plan is not going to work?
Right. Well,
are we offering something better?
We do have a caller, but let me just say before the caller comes on, watching the chess move, okay? Because if the deep state's in control of elections, which I think it is, then they position him and they position this as sort of it'll be painted by the media as backlash to Trump, okay? Even though everyone is kind of all on the same team, they're going to position it this way because every time they do this, then it gets a little worse and a little worse and a little worse. Well, they're creating this dependency on the state, so or on the people, so that by the time they introduce the smart cities, people have become so dependent that they wouldn't be able to do without a smart city, and all of these things will only be in a smart city, and they have to and will be compelled to be in one and be in one voluntarily, which is a whole nother mindscape, because you have to realize that dependency is going to translate. They want people so dependent on the government, we can't live without them. Just like the Whitney Webb was just talking about the internet being the WEF coming out, World Economic Forum, and saying any internet activity, you'll have to be into that digital space. You won't be able to access internet without being in this digital world that they're creating, and so with the digital ID. And so all these things are there in America, especially to kind of get you into the system, I think. But let's take the caller, and then you can respond to that if you want. Hi, caller, go right ahead.
3 quick things.
Sure.
Greetings, Kate.
Hi.
Yes. What they'll do is when what hits the fan, or a close facsimile thereof, the unannounced martial law, you're going to see that your bandwidth, your communication via email and other things, it doesn't get out to the entire internet like you might think. It'll only go in a certain area, and it might not go anywhere. Other than that, you and I both know the elections are rigged. Okay. We both know that the deep state owns both sides of the fence. Okay. You and I know that. The question is this. I want some of these 35 and under voters in New York to call in and let me know, did you vote for this guy simply because you were fed up with the Zionist propaganda and the genocide that's going on in Palestine with the funding by the United States government, i.e. the Republican Zionists call themselves Christians, but yet nothing Christ ever ordained the murder of innocent people or genocide. And because of that, they are separating themselves from that group. MAGA is dead, in my opinion. These people have exposed themselves. They are not conservatives. They are not Christians. They're just like Zionists. They're not Jews. They are not religious. They're not about God. They're about themselves. And I think the young people get it a lot quicker than you and I, maybe.
I don't know.
And I'd like to hear from them.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the call. I really appreciate that. Melissa?
I got 2 points to make here. First of all, with regard to internet activity, I think it's very interesting that Australia at the end of this year is going to require you to have a government ID to sign on to the internet, period. So there's that. That's cheerful. So they, once you sign in with your government ID, they will be able to track everything you look at, everything you send, everything you do.
Right. Which they are. It's just that I think it's more about the fact that you have to be part of the system. You can't not be part of the system to access.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
The second thing is I believe, like I said, I the more I think about it, the more I see the chessboard is unraveling. You know, you on a chessboard, you have the white players and the black players.
Mm-hmm.
We are bringing Zionism versus Islam right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, as a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
you notice there's no room on that game board for Christians.
Right.
So that's
He's
alarming and very disturbing.
He's a full-on communist. So we have this, eliminate private property stance from him. We have this free everything. So you get the scraps and everyone's equal in the scraps, thinking. The Cloward-Piven strategy from 1966, the Leninist revolutionary defeatism, right? And it was all about collapsing one's own homeland in order to inflict strategic existential mayhem, which when a communist revolution could arise victorious. And so the communist this was brought about by the deep state, and then infiltrated in certain regions. It wasn't a natural uprising into communism. It was placed. And so you had characters that were trained and placed. And I think that, looking at this, it's like, I don't think we realize what we're up against and what's really coming. But I'm going to take a phone call really fast. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, I'm going to give you
Sure.
a whole different slant on Mamdani.
Okay.
Mamdani is at least more open and sincere about what he stands for. It's the Republican Democrat voters and Republican Democrat politicians that gave us Mamdani acceptability. He's a socialist, of course. He's a Marxist. He believes in stealing. But it's exactly the same principle in politics, where a nation ends up in terms of freedom and liberty. It depends on principle. What principles you support? The Republicans support and Democrats support the same principles. They supported socialized education. They socialized retirement payments, socialized health care. They support the control of the economy by central banks. On and on. This is all
right.
Marxism, and so they embraced it. So why? It's just a matter of time for we're going to be communists, because the Republicans and Democrats are supporting the same principles, and principles is what we have to stand behind. If you don't stand behind principles, it's just the precedent is established.
Right.
The precedent for socialism was established for Republicans and Democrats.
No, I agree. I agree with you. Thank you for that. Now, I do agree, because I was actually going to say, this is kind of interesting, but I was going to say, Gavin Newsom's no different than him. Gavin Newsom and our Governor Cox, there really isn't any difference between all of the governors and what they're adopting in each state and what they're doing. So all eyes are on Mamdani. Can't say it. All eyes are on him, but really and truly, it's going on everywhere. It's just that you're going to have all eyes on him, especially because I think the deep state kind of just wants us to focus on, okay, this is coming, but it's here. So the message is, but it's here, and we don't want to see it, right? So we think that now this is the introduction of more change, but really it's just an ongoing effort that just keeps picking up steam because of these wins. So kind of interesting. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I really do think that the caller was very eloquent about the principles.
Yes.
That's what I was saying, maybe more awkwardly, that who in the conservative side is, let me take away the conservative word, because I think there are conservatives who are doing this, but not Republicans doing it, who are advocating and providing the argument and the discussion and the debate about those principles. We're going to have to convert people to constitutional government by arguing principles.
Right.
And who's doing that on the Republican side? Nobody's doing it, because we have all these untouchables. And like you said, it's socialized education. I think healthcare has pretty much been taken over. And I think for sure, Obama was a big part of all of this. Mamdani is no different really than Obama was.
Yep. They all want the same things.
But who on the Republican side is different? Is Trump really different?
Well, here's the difference. So when Obama was running in '08, he was saying, "Well, I like these things, but I'm going to get rid of spying. But I'm going to get rid of this and this and this and this." Right? So he appeared he lied and appeared to be somebody that wanted to do some of those things that we wanted, and so a lot of Republicans went his way, right? And you could see that now we're to the point where this guy wants the same things. He's very open about it. So there's no, they're just not hiding it anymore, but they all want the same things and are doing the same things. Yes?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And my husband and I have this conversation all the time. My
Mhm.
husband will come home and we'll be talking about whatever the topic of the day is. I don't understand why the Republicans don't say this or don't do this or don't have a law about this. And I said, yes, we do know why that is, because they don't want any of those things either. They want to posture and act like but it's all controlled opposition.
Yes. Not the Republicans themselves in a lot of ways, but the people that are selected for office, right? So
no, I'm not talking about ordinary people.
Yeah, you're talking about
I'm
the
talking about the
politicians.
machine, the Republican machine.
Yep. And they won't stand up to anything. So they always have an excuse. They always have some sort of scapegoat. It just
because
ticks me off.
I think most of the ordinary people, most of the people in my life that even if they're not politically of the same stripe that I am,
right,
I can have a conversation with them and we agree on many principles. We agree that people shouldn't just get a free ride for everything, even if they vote a different way than I do.
Right.
But you never find that among politicians. It's all just postured rhetoric and nonsense. And so I don't know. I just finished reading a book about the Roman Empire, so don't even get me.
Don't even get me started. Oh, I'm with you. I mean, it's scary because I feel like we are losing a lot of ground to the propaganda machine over this. And so people are getting sucked in and think that this is the new way of thinking, when I know a lot of Americans are not okay with any of this. And so I don't think we're being represented at all. I think elections are fixed 100%. I think that they'll put in who they can get away with in the moment. And of course, I think they waited for him to put him in to this kind of pivotal position in New York because they wanted it to appear as backlash to Trump. So that's how they play the game. It's like, put this person forward, then you have a reason that these people are going to get in, right? And so you're not going to hear anybody in politics say that. They're all going to just go, "Oh, wow, I guess they got in." But you're seeing races all over the place, and we have all of these very woke mayors, all in cities like mine, who are so woke out in the open, and people are just not running against them. They're not even presenting anybody to run against them. It's crazy that way. So I know people are noticing that too, that our cities are like this.
And that brings up another thing. How many times, like Cuomo, they ran Cuomo against Mamdani. Why did Cuomo leave office before? Because of horrible scandal. Is that really the best opposition that we can muster? Are people who are already tainted?
It reminds me of Kamala or Mala.
Well, yeah.
Let's position her, for this almost the same reason. See?
Well, I want to point something else out. That Mamdani, who says, I'm a Muslim, all these people, I'm a Muslim, but I'm a Marxist too.
Yeah.
And it seems to me, I remember when I was young and in my history classes reading the Communist Manifesto and reading something about how religion was the opiate of the masses. Is Mamdani really a Marxist? Does he really believe that? That would call into question his own Muslim faith. I don't recall that Marx said Christianity is the opiate of the masses. He said all religion is. And so if Mamdani is claiming to be a Muslim and a Marxist, pick one. Which is he? And if you want to know the truth, I believe he is a Muslim before he is a Marxist. The Marxism is the lever that he's using to move people. And cause them to be dependent on a state, because at the end of the day, there will be an authoritarian system established. That's the end game.
Right.
And so, my husband was funny. He was talking about this with me earlier today. And he goes, why don't they just put a big fence around New York and call it Escape from New York?
So true. Oh my gosh. And here's a statement about it, about this sort of Mamdani revolution. More and more people put into position that appear to be just like him, right? And it said this time round, not for rebuilding the home, but rather for extinguishing the light from within. And
yeah. Sure.
And isn't that what it's about? So
that's a piece of the whole daycare thing. If they want it free daycare starting at 6 months to 5 years when they go to government schools, and they want daycare providers to be paid on the same wage scale as elementary school teachers. Nowhere do I see anybody talking about we need to fortify homes and families. We need to give people greater flexibility, whatever. But all the feminists are like, yes, that's what we need. And the statement was made, and I found this to be kind of horrifying. We know that if we gave people more childcare, if we could handle that piece of their life for them, they would work more. Because that's everybody's goal, is to spend more time at work.
And there would be more indoctrination from an early age. Yay. Yeah. So I love this statement too. The reason LGBTQ and feminists support the evisceration of the West in this way that we're talking about right now is because they themselves cannot handle a functional population, and they seek to normalize their own dysfunction by means of a general collapse of norms and frameworks, which they are duped to consider oppression. So what they consider oppression, I mean, they just can't handle a functional population that is not on board. And so they must make people get on board with what they want, with what they desire. And that's kind of an interesting, because they want to normalize their dysfunction. I thought that was kind of an interesting statement too.
Yeah, the whole thing. There's just circles within circles. And I think a big part of this always is to make it impossible for ordinary people to comprehend what's going on. And it's not even propaganda. It's just like you were talking about the flowered piven stuff. It's to just overwhelm all of us to the point that we just can't cope anymore.
Yeah. And I think the illusion of, well, this person getting in would have been a better choice. They're still going to have marching orders. You're not going to be mayor of New York or a congressman or a senator today unless you are willing to go with marching orders on what you're going to step behind and what you're going to go out and talk about and get and support. So whoever gets to pretend that they run the city, I don't think he actually will be. And it's something to keep in mind, because we are a very reluctant nation in pointing out who really runs the nation. And for some reason, we don't want to get ourselves to admit it. We don't want to get ourselves to finally realize it. That's why people have such a hard time when I say elections have been taken for a long time, because they don't want to actually believe it. So we don't want to think it. So therefore, we live in la la land. We live in a fantasy land, and kind of like a person that wants to be a kitty and thinks they're a kitty and wants to live in a cat litter box. I mean, we have to also get to the point where we realize what has been going on and who's actually running things. In my opinion, I feel like we're just not there yet, and I hope and wish, because we still see the presidency as something that works autonomously depending on who's in, and that's just not true. I think they take their marching orders, and they have to look at some of the things Trump's behind right now. Those are all deep state moves. I mean, if you were really seeking to change things, you wouldn't be behind any of those things. So, especially like the homeless, enforced medical behavioral camps. I mean, things like that. So it's insane.
Well, I as a hopeful person,
as a hopeful person,
I want to believe.
Yes.
I'm going to pray every day that God can provide light and illumination
Yeah.
some of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is Mamdani is very young. He's only 35.
Mm-hmm.
And even if he has marching orders, we've already seen, when Van Jones is like, oh, you just made a big mistake, buddy, by shooting your mouth off.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can look forward to more of that from him. He will shoot his mouth off. He's going to take New York to places. And if we are watchful, we will see what happens here. Even if he's got the marching orders, he can't make New York, he can't do what he wants to do for New York. There just isn't the money to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's going to be frustrated. He's going to say stupid things. He's going to make people angry. And that's probably the best thing to happen. We need to, all of us, be watching New York, be watching some of these other places and saying, hey, this is why we reject that.
Mm-hmm.
Because look at the mess that's just been made.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen that happen before. We have to convince the people that we live with,
Mm-hmm.
the people in our communities, that this is the wrong strategy.
Right.
And, I don't anticipate going to New York. I've not ever, I'm a typical Midwesterner in that, like, New York could drift away and I would be happy.
Mm-hmm.
But, but it's going to be a little laboratory to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to have the predicted 1 million people mass exodus New York City?
Right.
If I had substantial money and he says, well, we're going to soak the rich and we're going to tax corporations. If you were the CEO of a corporation headquartered in New York, wouldn't you be making plans to leave?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If that happens, we need to say, hey, look, this is what happens when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a God thing.
Well, I wouldn't be moving into a Marxist city and
No.
being surrounded by people that are clearly leftist socialists in a conservative area is already difficult enough. But I still realize that there are many conservatives here. You move into those kinds of cities, and yeah, that's what you're going to find. And it's and they're doing it from the coast inwards. So all of it,
Well,
the coast.
I love Greg Abbott saying, hey, we're going to put a 100% tariff on anybody who's trying to escape New York and come to Texas. And so, I mean, I don't think that's a serious statement on his part.
Right.
I think he's making his stand against Marxism. However, I think we need to also be very aware of the fact that when these things happen, and we're going to have refugees in our town, New York refugees. You've already seen, in your part of the country, you've seen the California refugees.
Oh, yeah.
In my part of the country, I actually don't believe many New Yorkers will come to live in Indiana. They will go to Florida and Texas.
Or Michigan, it sounds like. They'll be right at home.
The Muslims, I think, are going to stay put because they got their guy. But people with money will go to Florida. They will go to Texas. And the interesting thing, and we've seen it happen over and over, they don't want to live where they've just made a mess, but they don't change their mind when they get to the new place. They want to go live in a place that's better or more conservative or has different kind of policies, but then they vote for the same stuff that they just created in the place they left.
Yeah, sadly.
So we have a work to do with the refugees. You want to get involved with refugees? Find somebody from California or New York.
Right.
Start
Well,
it.
The influx of those communities came from us positioning people there because we did it on the emergency basis, remember? So, when you see all these things happen and then these politicians that are behind it say, that they were behind it. And I just think it's amazing how they did it, how they brought people over here into communities, and there was really no vetting. It was just plopping them in cities. And then we wonder why the cities turn out that way, right? In the middle of America or what have you. So kind of amazing to watch.
I think we need to talk a little bit about California's Prop 50 too, because that's Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
And what they just decided to do in California, Gavin Newsom said, okay, if Trump's going to have Texas redistrict and he's going to pick up some Republican seats, then we want to make sure that California redistricts so that we can add more Democrat seats. What kind of playground politics is that?
It's Gavin Gruesome, nephew of Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a caller. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
You hit the nail right on the head with the immigrants from the U.S. going to other states. So I'm in the state just north of Utah and Nevada. I guess you guys can figure that one out. I don't want to broadcast it. But we have got so many people coming here from everywhere else thinking that, oh, this is a safe place. You're conservative. We can go here and everything will be fine. And yet they come here and they don't get involved at all. They don't know what district they live in. They don't know who the representatives are. And it's like, how can you vote if you don't know anything?
Yeah.
I mean, and because I see them every day. I run a business. They come in every day. We talk to them. This is what they say. But they're from these other states. They're all, oh, we don't want to live there because of these problems, but we'll come here because it's safe. It's like, you're out of your mind.
I know. No, you're right. You're right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I'm with you. I'm with you.
So we have a work to do, don't we?
We do. We do, because the founders were really explicit about making sure that somebody loved the ideals of this country before they were admitted. And we had a lot of our own conservatives, like Senator Hatch and a lot of different people like that, that were behind a lot of people coming in and not doing anything about it, and no vetting process, and everything's always done on an emergency basis. If we haven't figured that one out, every horrible thing has always been done on an emergency basis, because people don't have time to respond. They don't have time, and they use it as a scapegoat, quite frankly. So yeah, we got influx in our city, people not vetted. They don't love this country. They don't love the ideals, and they don't even know them. They don't study them. They don't understand them. So,
well, if you're born in Somalia and then you live in a Somali community in Minnesota, and maybe you didn't even speak English in your Somali community. Yeah. And I know here in Indiana, there's a couple of little towns that have a Somali faction, and they're all receiving, well, they're not all. They have a high proportion of women that are receiving welfare payments. How do you get grounded in the American system like that?
Right. So true. Yeah. All right. With the time remaining, was there anything else you also wanted to bring up too? I was trying to...
Regarding the election?
Well, no, just moving on from the election. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's bizarre.
I have a couple of other fun things we can talk about.
All right. Let's do it.
Here's one.
Okay.
Because I know of your great love for the CIA. So
yes.
I have a little CIA story for you.
Okay. Let's hear it.
This is so great. So they have declassified some CIA documents that were Cold War era. And
heavily redacted? Go ahead.
I don't think so. No, I don't think these were heavily redacted. When I tell you what they are, you'll go, oh yeah, no, they wouldn't redact that. They were, remember all the remote viewing stuff? Yeah. So they had remote viewers that were looking at Mars. And they concluded, it's in these documents from the CIA, that there was life on Mars. From the CIA. The CIA said, we know that there is, they called it the Stargate Project. And they were hoping to get access to inaccessible places. And they came to the conclusion that they had, their remote viewers were giving them descriptions of life on Mars, complete with, and I quote, advanced beings and monumental structures. So I'll let you decide whether you want to love that one or not.
It's very interesting. I was just reviewing a clip, and the news clip was from 1981. Okay. Goes back a while. And it was talking about the Bohemian Grove. And they did a news clip on ABC about it. And they were basically saying it was like summer camp, except that you had the cremation of care, and you had the owl, and you had, they showed a picture of these politicians, of important people dressed as women. Okay. Because there's no women allowed. So they dressed as women. So creepy, but they tried to make it look like it was summer camp. And then at the end, they talked about how Nixon, Reagan, Bush, all of them were, obviously Bohemianites, and would go there every year. But at the very end, they said this comment, and I don't know if a lot of people caught this comment, but it was they would descend on the Bohemian Grove back in the 30s to design what was going to be coming in the 40s and 50s, which was our nukes, right, and the nuclear bombs and all of these types of things. And so there were those conversations taking place at Bohemian Grove. And I just want to say, when people conspire, it is truly the art of doing it over time, and these things play out over time, and that's how you know it's a conspiracy to do something in America and to make something happen. And they were meeting in the low 30s about this in the Bohemian Grove to design what was going to happen. So I I listened to that clip and it was like, wait, what? And I thought that was kind of interesting now that you bring up the CIA in that time period. So.
Oh, well, Mars, just life on Mars.
Well, yeah, and life on Mars. So you have the CIA telling us that there's life on Mars, and I would believe the CIA never said anyone. So I think this carefully planted stuff.
Here's an insight into how conversations happen at my house.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I were talking about Bill Gates suddenly and mysteriously backing off of climate change.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband just kind of looked at me. He goes, "Why did he do that?" And I said, "I don't know why he did it, but certainly alien invasion has to be coming up next. So put it on
the bingo card.
Put it on your bingo card."
Isn't that the truth, though? I mean, come on. Like it's coming.
I have a couple of other little things just to draw people's attention.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of concerning.
Mm-hmm.
Hospitals across the country have now reclassified mRNA vaccines. I don't know if you've already talked about this. They're calling them biogenic injections. And because they're not vaccines now, they can be administered without patient consent.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you specifically tell them no, and you know the term biogenic, you want to say no to any biogenics. So patients in emergency rooms, if you are under sedation or if you are receiving psychiatric care or you have a family member receiving psychiatric care, they are people all potentially targeted. The hospital will say, well, this is a public health issue. And I understand that both the flu shot and COVID are both classed as biogenics now. So that's just something to be aware of. My husband's getting ready to take surgery, have some surgery done soon. And I told him, I said, we need to be on the lookout for the biogenics thing.
Oh, that's so true. And then, HR 238, that went through in January of this year. And it was making things AI, making these decisions AI. So I think it was called something stupid like, Healthcare USA apple pie, but it's basically making it so that AI decides the medications. And
great.
That sailed through without anyone even noticing. So
because AI never makes any mistakes, right?
Yeah.
My husband uses AI in his engineering job, and he always checks the math and everything, and he finds mistakes all the time. Just saying that. Anyway, here's another just little thing, little consumer action here. I don't know if you have noticed the LEDs lights that are being implemented outside street lights that are LEDs and even LEDs inside our homes, whatever. But some people, the LED lights are not healthful both to human beings, to our own eyes, but they are finding now that these outdoor LED lights are very disruptive to wildlife. And we don't think, I'm sure somebody like, oh, Melissa's just a tree hugger. Well,
right.
I didn't know. I didn't know until I started researching that a good portion, like 40% of the pollination that happens at night with nighttime insects. And so when we talk about our concern about pollinators, when we talk about our concerns about migratory birds and the health of our ecosystems and whatever, our poor birds and bats and all those migrating birds and things, they're up against a hard time.
Yeah.
And so here's a couple of things, just some suggestions. If you can, turn your outdoor lights off at night. I know there was a big campaign here in Indiana. We're on a big, massive North American flyway, and they were like, turn your freaking lights off at night because it's very disruptive to migrating birds and whatever else. You can also install motion sensors. The other thing you can do, and I thought this was a great suggestion, amber LED lights are not as disruptive to nocturnal animals.
Interesting.
So opt for that and point your freaking lights at the ground, because literally they said like birds they fly into the sides of buildings because they're blinded by LED lights. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to be a good steward of the earth, right?
Right.
And I'm not telling you, live like a caveman. I'm telling you, buy a different colored LED light. You could do that.
Okay. No, I like it. I like it. It's fine.
Here's the last one. And
Okay.
I just love this story. So astrophysicists have now theorized that there may be tiny ancient black holes known as primordial black holes, or PBHs. They even have an acronym, that may be all around us and we just don't know. They could be in the walls of our house. They could be anywhere. And they're so tiny we can't see them. But these minuscule entities are impossible to detect, but they're full of dark matter and they can suck things into them. So there's this whole big theory. They believe that these things were generated at the time of the Big Bang, and they've just been flying through the universe, and they can fly through the walls of things. And so these astrophysicists are going to start looking for them as a way to give us more information about the Big Bang and about the origins of the universe and whatever. And I have to tell you, Kate, my own personal reaction to this was, now I know now that my dryer has a primordial black hole and it's sucking that sock into it. And the other place in my house that has these, it's upstairs in my kitchen, and it's taking all the freaking lids to my Tupperware. I never can find the right lid, right? So clearly I have empirical proof that primordial black holes are a thing. They are real. They suck things in. Just this week, my husband was looking for something, and I'm like, black hole. It was one of those little black holes. We can't see it. And it took it.
Oh my gosh.
So just be aware of that.
And by the way, the whole Mars thing, I just wanted to make a comment. It was funny. It's funny to see some celebrities now come out and talk about the moon landing. And if I know anybody's done homework on it, anyone that's done homework on it is like, oh, wow. That didn't happen. But it's so interesting how they're really going after that right now, and they're really talking it up. And if a celebrity says that it didn't happen, they crucify them in the media so that they can have an example of what it looks like when the media turns on you, like Kim Kardashian. So kind of interesting, and keep an eye on that, because I'm seeing more and more stories and it's really ramping up. So maybe you're not wrong on the next thing on the bingo card is the alien invasion, the fake alien invasion, because they're certainly positioning themselves in the press for sure.
Don't you remember? I remember long ago reading something or other that said that very thing, that in order to control the population, the first round would be climate alarmism. And that's been going for quite a while.
Right.
But the fallback position when people don't buy it is actually alien invasion. So put it on your bingo card for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Put a primordial black hole on your bingo card.
Oh my gosh. Would that be CERN?
They're always unexpected things, right?
We need to do another show on CERN. Don't you think?
Yeah.
We're due. We're due for sure.
Okay.
Those wackos, those Satanists. Yes, and their little Satanist ceremonies.
Before we leave, this has been on my mind a great deal as we've talked about all of this. One of the ways that I have kind of begun to think about things, when you see people or activities or organizations that are trying to deconstruct something, that's coming from the wrong place. Because God is a builder. He builds families. He creates. He builds good things in the world for all of us. when you see people who want to disassemble, tear it down, tear our families apart, you know what source that's coming from.
Yeah.
It's a very quick way for me. And I do that check-in every now and then, like, is this going to build anything? And if the answer is no, then I know that that's not something I want to be with.
Right.
That's not anything that's useful to me.
Well, there you go. Thanks. And anything else you wanted to add on elections before we go that we didn't cover?
I don't know. We could talk for a long time about. I don't know. And my own thinking about this is becoming more and more difficult. My kids have both told me, oh, what's the point of even voting anymore if it's all just a said and done deal? And I just think, don't be so discouraged. Just remember that God can make a difference here. And we have to continue to engage, or we get what we deserve. Even if it's controlled, we have to continue to engage.
Right.
Because we don't want to have to be able to say, well, we did nothing and we let them have it easily.
Right. And I think that's where speaking out comes in, and where truly being able to see the mirage, because people can see layers of it and not the whole entire thing. And I think that it's getting somebody to that point where you see fully how much theater it is, and then maybe we get a populace that's willing to do something once they see the whole thing. And now, when I say that, kind of look at how the election cycle goes. A Republican goes in for president, and immediately 2 years later, do we really believe that the entire society is now desiring this type of candidate over who you just put in for president in a matter of 2 years? Okay. But they sell us the idea that, that enough people got mad that they went to the polls, and therefore now we have all of these socialists in, when I think it's all deep state maneuvering. So what they do is, if you've noticed this, every single election and then half election, right? So every 2 years, right? It's like a swing in the other direction. If you have a nation that's honestly putting in a president of a certain party, you would not then 2 years later see them completely switch and then all these other people get in. And I think it's more proof that it is controlled. And the more controlled we see it, right? The more controlled we see it, shouldn't promote apathy, but should promote an awakening of people that are willing to get others to understand. If an entire populace understands how much theater it is, they can't keep putting forth the theater propaganda, because we wouldn't be buying it, right?
Right.
So there's one way to stop it, but people actually do believe that every time we put in like a Democrat president, right, that we think we put in, and then 2 years later everything goes to Republicans, just like they're saying in the press today. See, MAGA's losing and it's all going to the Democrats. That's all theater. That's all a play. It's all done by the deep state. It has nothing to do with any authenticity.
Well, I think the deep state is very invested in tribalism. And as long as they can keep us tribal, then we cannot build any momentum to a different way. So if I'm MAGA, I'm MAGA, like I'm gonna, it doesn't matter. I'm MAGA, I'm MAGA, I'm MAGA. Well, or I'm a Democrat, or I'm a Marxist, or I'm a this or that. And all of that branding and labeling prevents us to actually looking at those people and saying, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
Why are those people behaving in that way? What's in it for them? Why are they doing that? They're not public servants. They are serving themselves. So what is the game?
Right.
So it is. But I do think we have to continue to engage.
Well, yes. And it is interesting to watch, because I don't think people even think about what I just said either. I mean, we're prone to believe, because the press puts it out there so often, as we get a Republican president and they go, oh, well, in 2 years, it's going to be a Democratic force to be reckoned with, right? Or the Democrats are going to go in with a force to be reckoned with. And public opinion, all of those types of things, if our votes were truly counted, there's no way in the span of 2 years that would change in 2 years. So there's no way that would actually happen. So it's more proof that they're taken, because it's just the nature of people. If we were truly heard and 60% of the nation was truly heard, right, for the choice, you just wouldn't switch that much in that short amount of time. So I just hope it resonates with people. I don't know. I'll throw that out there though, because we have to see the crazy of this,
sometimes we can be, you and I,
Mhm.
I'm just speaking about us here.
Yeah.
We can be very grim. And I think the world can be very grim and it can be
Mhm.
very overwhelming. It's overwhelming to me
Mhm.
personally,
Mhm.
and probably to you as well. As we're out there looking for
sure.
information all the
Yeah.
time. And so you look at a lot of stuff that's just like, oh, I don't want to
Oh, I
deal with
know.
that.
Yeah.
And so we have to, I don't know, it's a struggle to maintain hope
Mhm.
because I don't see things turning around really. And
Mhm.
maybe they won't. Maybe they won't even in my lifetime.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that I can give it up.
Well, and
It means I have to be committed. It's all about that. Your caller was so right. It's all about the principles.
Mhm.
What principles are you going to live your life with?
Mhm.
And I'm going to try and live my life
Right.
with hope
Mhm.
and the thought that maybe I can make a little difference.
Mhm.
And if not in my life, maybe for someone else.
But here's the deal though. I mean, we're talking about politics. We're talking about government. So if your hope is in that and your hope is in them to change
No.
it, that should
No.
not get anybody down, because you should already have realized long ago that our hope was
Right.
never supposed to be there. The work of the deep state has been to put all of our hope in that basket. And so that way we get apathetic because we're continuously hoping that a very controlled institution is going to give us back what we deserve to have back, which is not the case. So then you look at the rest of your life. And this is why when I was talking about my mom and I was talking about all of these things, it's like, look, you have the whole, that's one box. Now we've got the rest of our lives too. And the rest of our lives are all the joy and the experiences and the love you have with the people you love and the things that you do with them and the bonds you create and all of the learning that goes on in our life due to all kinds of experiences and things. And so I look at it as a box and I'm like, you know what? That box, pretty soiled, but I have a whole lot of other boxes in my life that are going really well. And so that's why I don't ever really get without hope, is because I know that box is pretty darn soiled, and it's not going to give me back at that point what I want. But in my own home, I can make a little heaven on earth here, and I can actually in my own home have the things that I need. So as much as I can, depending on future and all the stuff that we know goes down because of the scriptures. But I'm just saying that we find hope in all of the other boxes instead of that one. Right?
Well, it's really hard to hold on to hope when and I've lived with this expression for a long time. You get a lot of flack when you're over the target, right?
Yeah.
But you're getting a lot of flack, and that's hard to live with.
Yes.
You're all the time like
Yeah.
dodging the bullets because
Yes.
they're shooting at you, right?
Mhm.
But I think the United States we are taking a lot of flack right now because the target is right. The target of our Constitution, of our freedom, our personal and individual
Right.
freedoms, of free speech, of free religion, of all these things.
Uh-huh.
Those are the right things. And did we expect that the forces of evil were just going to let that go?
Nope. And I don't know why we think that. In a lot of ways, people are so bamboozled into thinking that we are not privy to everything else in the world because we're here in America. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I mean, my gosh, he didn't put us down here just to be soft and enjoy and have fun and whoopsie daisy, we're all good. No, we're here to fight for things and we're here to stand up for things, but we're also here to be intelligent. And a lot of people aren't exercising that particular talent. So we really have our work cut out for us in seeing the reality of the theater and understanding, because the second a majority sees the reality of the theater goes away. The theater can't be there. So,
and that's what I think is going to be interesting in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
If we really believe that not a majority of the people elected him, then what will that majority do when things go off the rails? And I do believe that they will, because they always do with that kind of a plan.
True.
Mamdani is not going to be able to fund free grocery stores for everyone in New York City.
Yeah.
And free buses and free healthcare. And unless you're willing to give up all your money, all of it, so that you can have everything free and you can live in an infantile state where the government takes care of your every need. But I think it's good to go back and revisit what was happening in Soviet Russia. What was life like in the Eastern Bloc? Talk to some of the people that lived in those systems and say, was your every need and want, did you get everything that you wanted? And the answer is never yes. It's no. They wanted to leave and defect to the West.
Yes.
And here we are in the West going, no, we think it'd be good to live like that now too for us. What stupidity is that?
You know, they couldn't really pull off COVID, the COVID lie the way that they truly wanted to. And a majority of people woke up to the crazy and woke up to the fact that it was insanity. What they were able to do in the beginning that most people fell for. Once they were in it for a while, they realized that, oh my gosh, we're being lied to. And told to do really stupid asinine things like follow directional arrows and put up plexiglass and wear stupid masks. So once we finally were immersed into the insanity, we finally saw it. And now they couldn't pull it off the same way. So are we a force to be reckoned with as a people when we finally realize truth? I would say yes. I would say that they have their hands full when they're trying to go too heavy on this type of crazy, right?
And here's a wacky thing. Here's a wacky thing that I encountered years and years and years ago in a history class one time.
What's that?
I had a professor who said, we always have to remember that the people who came to America, even to this very day, they are people who are unhappy with wherever they were. They were people who were adventurers and wanderers and seeking for a better life. He goes, that is part of the American DNA. And we are not the people who stayed in Europe or stayed wherever in Latin America or whatever and just did whatever we were told to do. Americans have never been those people, and we're still not those people. And so have faith in our fellow beings. Maybe we have been beaten down a little bit and we've been propagandized pretty hard, but have faith that somewhere in the DNA, our desire to be rebels still lives on.
Amen.
And we saw that. We saw that during COVID. I mean, you know what? When they told me I had to wear a stupid mask, I think I've shared this before. I bought the most outrageous.
It was funny, actually.
Royal blue and gold beaded belly dance mask ever. I wore it everywhere, and people would stop me at Walmart. Oh my gosh, where did you get that? Because it was just an in-your-face sort of thing. I was compliant because I needed to go get groceries. But it was clearly not any kind of mask that was serious, taking it seriously. And there were a lot of people like that. There were a lot of us. There were people who took the masks off very early and just said, my son said, I'm going to not wear a mask until someone asks me politely to put it on. And then I will put it on, but only when they ask me. And if they demand it, I will leave. If they ask me politely, I will comply. And that's a form of rebellion. So we have that rebel spirit.
All right.
We still have it.
Well,
let's be rebels.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure and get over to Cardio Miracle, because I really want you guys to take something in that's going to give that mineral overload. This is why Dr. Judy Mikovits talks about it all the time, because she's like, there's no product like that with mineral delivery like that. So Cardio Miracle. Try it twice a day. You're going to feel so different and so good. And believe me, I'm a testament to it. So that's why I'm telling you, like, this is so good. Do not miss out on that. Cardiomiracle.com/Kate. And also the 2-for-1 deals over at allfamilypharmacy.com/Kate. And there are specific needs for people, and ivermectin and membendazole and fembendazole and all of those things that get rid of parasites. If you're not getting rid of parasites all the time, you should be, because that's what's wreaking havoc, I think, in disease and all of the things that the doctors just don't have an answer for. That it's not genetics either, is why we need to be doing parasite cleanses. So there's a way to do it with ivermectin and so forth, but they're having these killer 2-for-1 deals. Get over there to allfamilypharmacy.com/Kate, sent to your door. You don't have to find a doctor. You don't have to talk anybody into giving you scripts. You can actually just go there and get it, which is kind of nice. I'm not a lover of pharma at all. But I will tell you, it is nice in my arsenal to have a couple of things and to also make sure that I'm doing these cleanses too. So thank you, Melissa. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you. And to you as well out there. Thanks for listening in today. Really appreciate you guys. Be faithful, be fearless, and see you back here on Monday, of course.